Welcome to the Knox County Historic Zoning Commission meeting. This meeting is broadcast on several TV stations, so please remember to speak clearly and directly into the microphone. Please limit your presentation to 5 minutes. Anyone who wishes to speak on an item, please stand now and answer with "I do" to the following affirmation. We don't have anybody who's going to speak. Okay, good. We don't. All right. Any appeals on the Historic Zoning Commission decisions may be made by Chancery Court within 60 days. May we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Maynard?
Here.
Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Haston is excused. Commissioner Ewert?
Here.
Commissioner Eisenberg?
Here.
That's 4 present, sir.
Thank you. So we got a quorum. All right, I'm going to turn it over to you, Lindsay. Give us an update on some administrative rules and procedures. I'm assuming we're electing a new chair as well,
Yes, yeah.
as I've been chair for over 10 years.
We figured we'd finally follow the administrative rules and procedures. Okay.
Lindsay, can we get a motion on the minutes?
Oh, yes. Can you guys take a motion to approve the minutes from, I believe, October?
Has everyone reviewed the minutes from October, so the last meeting?
Yes.
Can I get a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Got a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Thank you. And we had hoped to hear from our friends in the Concord neighborhood. They are not able to attend the meeting today, so the agenda reflects what we'll kind of talk through, and we'll keep it relatively brief. One of the elements that you guys will take a motion and a vote on today is some changes to the administrative rules and procedures. These are largely standards related to attendance at meetings. This was requested by Knox County Commission that Knox County boards and commissions revise their policies about attendance. To be honest, these are very similar to what ours already are, but we just figured we'd go ahead and get in line with county commission's policies and make sure that you guys have that same wording in your admin rules and procedures. So you can see it on the screen and it should be in your packet. Primarily, the count of failing to attend meetings is 75% in any 12-month period. So, considering sometimes you guys only meet once in a 12-month period, we'll just stay focused on that. But it just says that the chair may ask someone to resign and then be replaced. But again, that's not too different from the policy that you guys already had. And then there were some other minor changes that we went ahead and made in the admin rules and procedures. One of them was that using a substitute or replacement material, kind of like using fiber cement or something like that, was classified as a level 3, which meant that it should have carried a bigger fee. And it would be a level 3. But that's not really in line with the way that we've been reviewing these things. So we moved that up to a level 2. So that's in line with our checklist and our fee sheet. And then we deleted this section in here that kind of was an exhaustive checklist of the types of things that were required for applications. We keep all of this on our website and we update it a lot more regularly than we update the admin rules and procedures. So we just thought there was really no reason for this to be in the administrative rules and procedures. This isn't a place where we would send an applicant to look at anyways. And so we went ahead and deleted that one to avoid redundancy. So those are the changes to the admin rules and procedures. Does anybody have any questions? Okay.
Do we need to make a motion on this?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Can I get a motion to adopt the new policies and procedures, rules?
I'll make the motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Motion passed.
Great. So the next thing we'll do is hold an election of chair and vice chair for the following year. The admin rules request that we typically do this in January, and so that was the intent of having an annual meeting. Hopefully we'll have more business before then, and then we will meet again in January and just sort of kind of keep this on an annual basis. So I will lead us through. I guess I'll start with chair. So may I have any nominations for chair of the Knox County Historic Zoning Commission for 2025?
I nominate Kim.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Awesome. So I've heard a nomination of Kim Eisenberg for chair of the Knox County HCC for 2025. Do I hear any other nominations? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Any opposed? Great. Awesome. Okay. And so now we'll have a vice chair. So may I have a nomination for the vice chair for 2025?
Go ahead, Kim.
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Smith.
Okay. All right. Got a nomination, and do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All right. Any other nominations? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor? Okay. Any opposed? Great. Thank you, guys. I will be sure and send you some information before the next meeting just to give you the script and all that stuff. Great, thank you. And then the last thing I was going to run through here is just to give you guys an introduction to some goals that were incorporated into Knox County's recent comprehensive plan. So this was commonly known as the Advanced Knox process. It was initiated by Mayor Jacobs and by our office. It's been ongoing for a couple of years, but it is adopted now. And so the next step of this will be Knox County is going to update their zoning code, similar to the way that the city did it in 2020. And so some elements of the historic zoning may be updated, but largely these are just kind of broader policies that were worked in there. And I think I wanted to introduce you guys to some of these because some of them will be elements that you'll maybe vote on or see the results of in the next couple of years. So some of the goals were more responsibilities that would come on planning in the HCC, and some are more for us to work with our partners. Like the first one about having a historic property protection toolkit. This is something that will probably involve some collaboration with Knox Heritage. On an ongoing basis, we do try to provide technical assistance for property owners of historic properties. We continue to collaborate with Knox Heritage and other nonprofits like our historic house museums and property owners. And then one would be update the historic resources inventory. So one thing that we wanted to go ahead and note in there, and this was actually a suggestion from a member of the public, is having a category in there for historic properties that may not be listed on the National Register, may not be formally eligible, but would be worthy of conservation. So that kind of opens up the possibilities there a little bit more. And then the other one that I would bring up is creating a demolition delay process. So the City of Knoxville's zoning code has a 60-day demolition delay for historic properties that are on the National Register or in an overlay. And we think this is a valuable tool for for historic structures in Knox County. It allows us to have a little bit of extra time to kind of partner with Knox Heritage and discuss with the property owner and talk about rehab or salvage or documentation by photos and videos or even moving the house. So we hope to incorporate that into the upcoming Knox County Zoning Code update. So this is online in the Knox County Comprehensive Plan. So I would recommend that y'all go back and check that out. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to let me know. This isn't something that we need to vote on. It's just kind of an update.
Am I still the chair of this meeting? I did, because I mean, I would be glad to give it to Kim if she wants to be, but,
I don't have the script yet.
okay. The Village of Concord's not here, right? Okay. Does anybody got any questions on anything that Lindsay had just discussed? Well, can I get a motion to adjourn then?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Get a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for having us today. Thanks for allowing me to be chair for this period of time.
A long period of time. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you coming. Okay, now we'll hand it over to our city chair for the day.
Good morning. Welcome to the March 20th, 2025 meeting of the Knoxville Historic Zoning Commission. This meeting is broadcast on several TV stations, so please remember to speak clearly and directly into the microphone. Dallas, can we start with a roll call?
Commissioner Blackburn. Here. Commissioner Eason. Here. Commissioner Bradley. Commissioner Kessler.
Here.
Commissioner Hearns.
Here.
Commissioner Mitchell is excused. Commissioner Randazzo.
Here.
Commissioner Tillman.
Here.
Commissioner Kloss.
Here.
That's 7 present, sir.
Thank you. Next, we'll proceed with the swearing in of the speakers. If you wish to speak on an item, please stand now and answer with "I do" to the following affirmation. I solemnly affirm that the testimony I'm about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Looks like we have no one swearing in.
Should be on Zoom.
Yeah. For those at home, you know what to do. All right. We ask that all speakers please limit their presentation to 5 minutes. We also ask that speakers give their name and address before speaking. Please sign at the desk by legibly printing your name and address. Any appeals of historic zoning decisions may be made to Chancery Court within 60 days of the date of this meeting. Can I get an approval of the minutes for the last meeting, which is the makeup meeting?
Make a motion to approve. I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Before we move on to staff reports, we have one application that is requested to be postponed. Two
So
from the same applicant.
Yes.
Both in Mechanicsville, 210 Chancellor Avenue and 216 Chancellor Avenue. That's based on a postponement from BZA. So with that, I'll make a motion to postpone the application 94KD002 and 94KD004.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And now we'll proceed with staff reports.
Okay. So the administrative approvals since the last meeting at 1801 Washington Avenue, we approved a small sign for a home office that will be installed on the rear elevation of the house. At 515 College Street in Mechanicsville, the applicant removed sections of asbestos shingle siding and installed new cedar siding. At 400 East Scott Avenue, which is a non-contributing apartment building in Old North, they removed some aluminum single-hung windows with internal grids and installed new 1/1 single-hung windows within those existing openings. At 232 East Scott Avenue, the applicant removed wood siding boards and replaced in kind, removed some front porch floorboards, and then repaired some of the original windows, including reglazing. That's it.
All right, and next we'll move on to our 3 applications in Old North. If you can give us those staff reports as well.
Okay. So at 1235 Armstrong Avenue, this was an application on the February agenda. So there were a broad amount of exterior rehab scopes proposed in this application, which have been approved administratively. So I'll run through the larger scopes of work that are here for the commission's approval. The applicant is proposing to fully enclose this rear sun porch that already is kind of enclosed with this non-historic flat siding with either in-kind lapped siding or cedar shingles or board and batten. The applicant will also remove these non-original sunroom windows and this full light door and install 2 French doors in their place, and they're requesting that those French doors be approved by staff. On the side elevation, the applicant is proposing to remove 2 non-original aluminum windows and install either 2 1/1 or a single light casement window in the existing openings, and then remove 2 windows on the rear elevation and 1 on the side of this rear addition. Those will be enclosed with siding. And then finally, the applicant's proposing to remove this partial chimney from the dormer, which was taken down from the roof line prior to 2001. So overall, the exterior rehab scopes here meet the design guidelines and were approved administratively. The windows that are proposed for enclosure are on a section that was most likely not original. It was a porch that was enclosed. And they will not be visible from the right-of-way. In terms of the sun porch, there's already sort of full light storefront system and non-historic siding on this element. So installing those French doors will provide additional transparency. As the doors are not visible from the right-of-way, the staff level approval will be appropriate. And then the chimney that's proposed for full removal is partially removed. It's not visible from the right-of-way. And then this full-height chimney on the right will be retained. So removal of this partially removed secondary chimney is appropriate. Staff's recommending approval of 2D25HC as submitted.
Thank you, Lindsay. Is the applicant present?
Should be on Zoom. Sean, hang on one second. Oh, yes. Now we can hear you.
Okay, Sean Bolin, 115 East Scott Avenue. I'm here to answer any questions. I agree with staff recommendation, and the neighborhood also is in support of this application.
Commissioners, any questions? If not, we can entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, we'll vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? None? All right, so moved. We'll move on to the next application, 412 East Scott.
Okay. So this is the removal of an existing deck and the construction of a new deck. It's 22 feet wide by 15 feet deep. And the application is also proposing a shed roof on the rear there to partially enclose the porch and deck with screens. So the deck, stairs, and railing will be installed in the place of the existing, supported by concrete footings and pressure-treated wood posts. The deck will be approximately 6 feet deeper than the existing and made from a decorative wood composite decking that's proposed to have a herringbone pattern. So you can see some photos of the existing deck there, and then some drawings of the proposed. And then going back to the sort of visibility from the street, primarily, we can see it that way. So some of the findings, the deck is from 2018, so removing that is appropriate. The property slopes pretty significantly to the south-southeast. Both sides of the house are flanked by large surface parking lots. You can kind of see one over here, or driveways. And so the roofline and deck will be visible from the right-of-way, but it will be at a significantly lower lower level than the main level of the house. Placing a deck on the rear elevation is appropriate within the guidelines. In Old North, composite materials have been approved for flooring materials on new rear elevation decks, and then some front porches, particularly the upper level ones that are not visible from the street. Just noting the herringbone pattern is not typical of historic porches or decks. However, because this is on the rear elevation, covered with a roof and enclosed with a screen, it will not be visible from the right-of-way at all. The deck and the roof structure don't result in modifications to any character-defining features and could be removed without effect on the house. So staff's recommending approval of 3D25HZ as submitted.
Thank you, Lindsay. Is the applicant present?
They should also be on Zoom. If they are. Yeah. Christian, if you want to unmute yourself and speak, you're welcome to.
If you have anything to add.
Hey, no, that pretty much sums it up. I've got nothing to add there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there any neighborhood input on this project?
Sean Bolin, 115 East Scott Avenue. The neighborhood is in full support of this addition and staff's recommendation.
Thank you, Sean. Commissioners, discussions or questions? If not, the floor is open for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve per staff recommendation
Thank you. Is there a second?
as submitted, to be clear.
Sure.
Sorry.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion passes. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to 408 East Oklahoma Avenue.
Okay. So this is a large exterior rehabilitation project. We can see the photos of the existing here. Some of the scopes of work include the removal of existing vinyl siding. There's vinyl siding on some of the elevations and then wood siding on some of the elevations. So the applicant will be removing the vinyl siding and either repairing the wood siding that's beneath it or installing wood lap siding and pressure treated wood trim and corner boards in its place, and then repairing the existing wood siding and trim. We can see some of the existing wood siding details there. They will be installing a new roof in kind, removing a non-historic rear door and installing a new half-light rear door. They will also be repairing the front porch, removing the non-original wood railing on the front porch and these columns and installing a new wood railing. The applicant will repair and restore the original 2/2 double hung windows. So you can see some of those in the images here and a detail here. So these will all be retained and repaired, and installing new storm windows on the exterior. And then on some of the elevations, there are non-historic aluminum windows. You can see some here, like a slider window and double hung here. Two of the non-historic windows, and we can see these called out on the plans, and I can go through them as folks have questions. Two will be replaced, or two will be enclosed with wood siding, and then the ones that remain will be replaced with double hung wood windows. And then there will be a new double hung wood window installed on the rear elevation. So you can see that in the elevation drawings here. And then right now it's enclosed with siding. You can somewhat see that opening there. And then the applicant is also proposing to remove the gable vents on the front and side gable fields and install fixed 12-inch by 24-inch wood fixed windows in those vent openings. The applicant proposes to install skylights on the hipped roof slopes on the left and right in place of the former chimneys. Those are not extant anymore. And then the applicant is proposing to add a dormer on the rear elevation that will project from that hipped roof. It'll be clad in wood siding and feature a wood casement window. So some of the findings, overall the exterior rehab scopes are appropriate within the guidelines. The applicant's using that existing wood siding as a guide to repair the existing or install new. The corbelling and this or exposed rafter tail detail on the front porch should be retained, and that is visible in these elevation drawings. Repairing the original windows is appropriate. The applicant should submit those storm window specifications to staff for approval. Working on the front porch, removal and replacement of these non-historic elements are appropriate within the guidelines. The applicant should submit a porch railing detail with balusters set into the top and bottom rails to staff for approval. The windows that will be removed are non-historic, typically aluminum windows on the rear secondary additions. The new window that will be proposed on the rear here is in the place of a previous window, and so that is appropriate. And then replacement of those other windows with new double hung wood is appropriate, but the applicant should submit those final specs to staff for approval. They note it as a Weather Shield Premium Wood Series in the exterior elevation plans. The design guidelines discourage alterations to historic roof lines, but new dormers have been approved on rear elevations in this neighborhood, provided they're proportionate to the house. They have roof lines and materials similar to the original and are minimally or not visible from the street. The proposed dormer does meet those parameters. It won't be visible from the primary street due to the house's roof line. The vents that will be installed with windows, the one in the front is non-original. The two on the sides may be original, but they're not majorly character-defining features. The gable field windows are common locations for fixed windows in the neighborhood, and they have been approved if they are proportionate, feature materials and trim to match, and don't result in the removal of original features. Skylights are discouraged if they're visible from the street, if they interfere with decorative roof elements, or if they project upward from the roof line. The one on the left will be somewhat visible from the street right here, and the right one will be minimally visible from the right-of-way. These skylights should be flush to the roof slope with specs submitted to staff for approval. So staff's recommending approval of 3F25HC, subject to the condition that the following things be submitted to staff for approval: storm window specifications, a porch railing detail, the final windows, and the final skylight specs.
Thank you, Lindsay. Is the applicant present?
Do not believe he was going to be here today. No.
Okay. Do we have any neighborhood input on this project?
Yes, 115 East Scott Avenue, Sean Boland. The neighborhood approves this application and supports staff's recommendation.
Thank you, Sean. All right, commissioners, discussions, questions?
I have a question for staff. With the skylights, when you said that the skylights need to be flush with the roof, is that within a certain perimeter? Because typically there'd be a little bit of a curb.
Yeah, I don't have a specific number or measurement amount for that. If there's a suggestion that you have, we could definitely incorporate that. Or if there's any kind of thought that you have on those types of skylights.
I was just thinking that there should be at least a little bit of a curb. So completely flush might be problematic.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
But I don't know, Travis, if you have anything to add to that.
I've never seen one with a shingle that's completely flush, but
Okay.
there's new technology for windows all the time. Sean, are you still on the line?
Yes, I am.
Are you familiar with any skylights in Old North and how flush they are with the roof slope?
They're never flush. They're always off by a few inches, probably 2.5 or so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're right.
I move to approve per staff recommendation.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. I have a question. Did you intend to include the conditions per the staff recommendation?
The staff recommendation says, do I need to say all that per the staff recommendation? We didn't change anything.
Okay, that's fine. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, we'll move on to a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion passes. I believe that is all the business we have for today. Is there anything else? Meeting adjourned.
Yeah.